My name is Devin Griffiths, and today I will be talking about why the United States was wrong to drop an atomic bomb on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. World War II began in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. Adolf Hitler was the dictator of Germany and was quickly gaining more and more power. Just days after Hitler's decision to invade Poland, Great Britain and France declared war on Germany, which became known as the official start of World War II. As more and more countries joined the war, two main sides emerged called the Axis powers and the Allied powers. The Axis powers included Italy, Germany, and Japan, while the Allied powers included France, Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and the United States. The United States remained mostly neutral during the first 2 years of the war, but was a main supporter and supplier of wartime goods to the Allied forces. The Japanese bombings on the American fleet in Pearl Harbor brought the United States into war on December 7, 1941. As the war continued and the victory for the U.S. approached, an unconditional surrender was offered to Japan, which was rejected, but indications showed that there were possibilities of a conditional surrender. Regardless of this, on August 6, 1945, President Harry Truman officially ordered the Enola Gay to drop the world's first atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. The bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima killed approximately 146,000 people. When Japan did not surrender after the first bomb, President Truman ordered a second atomic bomb to be dropped on the city of Nagasaki on August 9, 1945, killing another estimated 80,000 people only 3 days later. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its surrender, marking the end of World War II. The Second World War is considered the bloodiest war in history and is responsible for 50 to 80 million deaths. Many see Truman's decision to drop atomic bombs on Japan as a means to an end, meaning that yes, it killed a lot of people, but it also ended the war and stopped any more blood from being shed. I strongly disagree with this decision because the immediate and long-term effects will forever be seen in Japan, and the lives of many innocent people will always be at the hands of the United States. There's a handful of reasons why it was wrong to drop atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a few of which I will outline today. The first reason is morality. While the more than popular belief surrounding the atomic bombs the U.S. dropped is that it was deserved because of Pearl Harbor, it was quite literally overkill. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, there was a total death toll of 2,403 people. The combined death toll of the atomic bombs in Japan is around 225,000 people. Innocent civilians were crushed in their homes, disintegrated, and burned alive. Many people that survived the initial blast walked long distances to get away from the site of detonation, only to die a slow and painful death before collapsing. During the first few weeks following the bombs, thousands of people faced pain from internal bleeding, vomiting, intense diarrhea, extreme weakness, internal injuries from burns, and several other effects of radiation. Within 4 to 6 weeks following the bombings, death from purpura began, also called bone marrow syndrome, which essentially means the body experiences hair loss, anemia, yellowish skin discoloration, and the inability to prevent bleeding. More long-term effects included an increase in leukemia, thyroid cancer, lung cancer, and breast cancer in the immediately following years, as well as an increase in anemia, cataracts, and keloids. There were birth defects found in the following generations from radiation and major effects on pregnant women. Overall, the use of the atomic bombs was inhumane. The second reason that dropping the atomic bombs on Japan was a poor idea is because of the impact it had on other world superpowers. Dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki simultaneously ended World War II and started the Cold War. A very common accusation is that the United States' use of the bombs was more intended to scare the Soviet Union than to defeat Japan. The decision to drop the atomic bombs on Japan was made to not only end the war, but to show the world that the U.S. was a dominant force and would remain one in the post-war world. Stalin saw the United States' possession of atomic warfare as a direct threat to the Soviet Union, inspiring their development of atomic warfare as well. This would begin the arms race to see who could develop the most nuclear weapons, also called the Cold War. So the use of atomic bombs in Japan was the tipping point for peace between the United States and the Soviet Union, which only started yet another war. It's hard to justify the use of such mass destruction weapons for ending a war when it did in fact kickstart another war in its place. The third reason is that it really wasn't necessary. The US could have used a lesser force to end the war because the war was already coming to a close. Negotiations were on the table for the surrender of Japan, but US leaders did not really attempt any other diplomatic efforts or more humane options to end the war. It was more than likely that Japan would have to give up very soon without even a need for invasion. Japan's navy had already been completely destroyed, their home islands were blockaded, and shipping routes and ports were cut off, so they had no access to food or other essentials. And their oil refineries had already been bombed. Was the horrendous sacrifice of 250,000 hostages to their own country really acceptable? The first bomb was dropped on August 6th and the second on August 9th. If anything, the United States could have at least waited more than 3 days before dropping yet another bomb. 3 days was not enough time for the Japanese to make sense of this new weapon of mass destruction, assess its impact, or make strategic sense of it. The rapidity in which the bombs were dropped was not necessary. I will close my debate with the following quote from Albert Einstein. "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." Thank you.